Have you ever received a gift from somebody and thought to yourself, why the hell did they give me this? I don't need this or want this. I'm probably going to end up throwing it in the garbage or putting it somewhere in the garage and forgetting about it for like 20 years. This is called the rule of reciprocity, and it's a powerful, powerful way to influence others. The rule of reciprocity basically works like this. I give you a present, you return my present. And it's a powerful, evolutionarily based form of social bonding. Think about it. If we had a society where people gave things and didn't return, we wouldn't want to share. If somebody gives you something and they don't repay you, we don't feel too good about it. There's a general sense of contempt for people who constantly take without returning the favor, without giving. So what has happened is we've developed this need to repay others. We feel obliged when somebody gives us a present. When somebody gives us a gift, we need to repay them. And whether we know it or not, we feel this need. So someone might give you a gift and you might not think anything of it, but deep down inside you still feel obliged and you still feel like you need to repay the person, even when you're not aware of it. So this is what makes it such a pernicious, powerful form of influence, is the fact that you can give somebody a gift and they will be obliged to repay you, even if they did not even want the gift in the first place. So sometimes the best thing to do is to just not even accept a gift. The other really interesting part about the rule of reciprocity is there's often an unfair exchange. So an unfair exchange works like this. I give you something that's worth $1, but you repay me something that's worth $2. Now why is this? We don't want to seem cheap when we're repaying the other person, so we often give gifts of greater value. So there's sort of a disproportional gift-giving thing going on. Alright, so if this seems a little bit too abstract, let's talk about some examples where you can see the rule of reciprocity in action. The first one comes from the Hare Krishnas. The Hare Krishnas were a religious organization in the 1980s, I could be wrong, and they relied solely on donations. The problem was they weren't getting any donations, so they had to find a way to get more donations and increase their revenue. Luckily, a clever devotee thought of an ingenious method to do this, and it came in the form of a simple flower. It was actually a daisy, to be exact. They gave potential donators a daisy and said, "This is our gift to you," and then asked them for a donation. Results showed that there was a 50% increase in donations, which is huge, just from a simple flower. So sometimes something really small can go a long way. It is truly the act that matters. It's not the size of the present, it's just the idea that you're giving someone something and you thought of them. So let's think of another example like this. It comes in the form of a mint. Think about when you go to a restaurant and you receive a mint. Do you feel more inclined, do you feel more obligated to give the waiter or waitress a bigger tip? You might not think you do, but results have shown that there is a 23% increase in tips just by simply getting a little piece of candy that you probably won't even eat. You probably just throw it in your purse. That's a huge increase just for something that small. Another example comes to us from Cornell University in 1971. It was called the Coke experiment, and it worked like this. There was a researcher and a student in a room, and they were taking part in an art appreciation experiment. So as they were looking at the art, the researcher left the room and came back with a complimentary can of Coke and said, "Here you go." After the experiment was done, the researcher asked subjects, if they wanted to buy raffle tickets for a local event. And they compared the amount of students who wanted to buy raffle tickets, who got a Coke, and the amount of students who did not get a Coke. And results showed that students who got just a simple can of Coke bought way more raffle tickets. Not only did they buy way more raffle tickets, if you compared the amount, the value, tickets purchased, can of Coke, they actually bought something like 10 or 12 times the amount, the value of the Coke in raffle tickets, which is pretty amazing. Now I think I saved the best one for last, and the best example of the rule of reciprocity, this rule of powerful influence, comes from Chicago University in 1976. Now, what they did there were two sociologists, and they mailed, not emailed, this is before email, they mailed 578 people, random people out of the Chicago City phone book. They mailed them a Christmas card. Just like a Merry Christmas, I'm thinking of you kind of Christmas card. And they waited for the response. How many people do you think would respond? Surprisingly, 20% of people responded. Not only did they respond, some of them wrote long letters, included pictures of their cats, their dogs, told them how their families had been recently. And these are two complete strangers. If you received a card from a complete stranger, would you respond? Would you feel obliged to respond? Well, the study showed that some people, despite not even knowing who sent them a card, I mean, the card could have been accidentally sent to them, they still felt so obliged that they returned the letters. I think this is pretty amazing. So we looked at a lot of examples of the rule of reciprocity in action. And, you know, the idea of giving value or providing value has become sort of a mantra for businesses throughout the world. The idea of providing customers or people with free, valuable information that they need is sort of standard operating procedure. And it works on the rule of reciprocity if you think about it. So by receiving free information, free things that you need, you will feel obliged to repay the company or the person for what they've provided. It's pretty amazing, and you know, we can apply this in our own lives. So we're going to talk about 3 ways to use the rule of reciprocity in your own life. So the first is give gifts. I mean, they don't have to be big, but give gifts. I know this sounds like common sense advice, but now that you realize how powerful the rule of reciprocity is and how much it makes people want to repay you, I think you have a little bit of a better understanding. The second one is if you're a company or a business providing free information, freebies as they call it. What are your opt-in features? What's the thing that's going to attract customers and bring them in? What is the free content that you're going to provide? Because if you don't, you're going to know that there's 50 other people who are out there providing free stuff. And the third one is that, you know, if you want a favor from somebody, do something for them first. Don't just ask them for a favor. If you really want something from someone, something you want them to do or to give you, help them out first. That's it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and if you have, please subscribe below or go to my blog at brainhacksblog.com and subscribe to my email. All right, thank you.